Hi, welcome or welcome back. My name is Holly-Beth and this is my cozy corner. We have a lot to get through today. It's been almost 2 months. Are you ready? Hi, this is basically a knitting podcast vlog of everything that I have been knitting on, what I've completed, what I am working through, and also what I would like to actually, because I am getting a little bit more of an idea as to what I actually want to make now. So many ideas, actually, so many ideas are flooding. So what I would like to work on, and also anything that I have picked up from a local yarn store or online, anything that is linked to our handcrafts journey. So with that long intro, if that's something that you would like to watch, one, good luck. Two, this is gonna be a long one. There's your heads up. Okay, this is almost 2 months, I think. Is it 2 months? I think it's almost 2 months since I last did a catch-up progress podcast kind of thing. So there's a lot. There's really a lot to go through. So buckle up. I has coffee now, which is good because we might need it. So I hope that you grab something cozy to drink and that you'll join me to talk about what have I been up to the last 2 months. Let's start, let's go through it. So let's start off with where I am, because I'm not in England at the moment. I am in Norway. I think I said that I was going to Norway. I don't remember. What I do know is that the last podcast was at the start of March and I have been very busy and very sick and just all over the place. But aside from that, I am in Norway at the moment. I have been for almost a month. I have about a month left and I am visiting my other half. Because if you are new here, my other half is Norwegian and from Norway. So we visit each other when we can, from time to time, obviously when we are allowed to do so. I think the next time I was going to be able to see my other half was going to be Christmas, so we really wanted to see each other before the summer. He has a lot coming up with school, so I wanted to be here to support him and also just so we can spend some time before things get a little bit hectic. As well, it's extremely close now. If you've already have watched one of my videos more recently, you will know that my little brother is having a... It sounds weird when I say little brother. He's not that... He's a full-grown adult. But my youngest brother is having a baby with his girlfriend and she is lovely, and that's in the next few weeks. It's going to be chaos when I get back. It's truly going to be chaos. So it's going to get very busy. There's going to be a lot going on and we wanted to spend some time together. Anyway, I have been knitting in the time that I have been in England and also here. I've been knitting here a lot because the idea of coming here is to spend some time with my partner, spend some time with my partner's family, be able to have a break from the everyday of what life is normally at the moment. So it means a lot of knitting time, a lot of planning time, and it's really, really great. I'm really, really lucky because a lot of his family members knit and they have been giving me tips and honestly have been so kind and been giving me yarn and patterns and so many gifts when I got here. It was so nice. I'm not really sure the stand that I want to do today. I really don't know. Usually I do the catch up at the end, but I've already kind of started. I think I'll do a proper catch up at the end. Let's talk about knitting right now. So let's actually go through my projects and what I'm knitting on, what I have been knitting on, because one of them is super, super special and I can't quite believe that it's done. If you follow me on Instagram, I know, who is she? I've actually been really active on Instagram to an extent recently. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I've been posting a lot on there as to what I've been knitting on, and if you've been on my Instagram at all, you'll know kind of roughly what I might be showing today, because obviously there's been kind of no contact other than a few shorts and a little bit in Discord. It's been so busy and it's just been a whirlwind. Maybe what we should start off with is what I'm wearing. I have not knit this, number one, but we very much like to go to the secondhand stores here in Norway and in England as well, because, you know, we want to see what we can find. We want to be able to reuse other people's, whether they see it as trash or treasure. We want to be able to give things a new life, a new purpose. And one of the stores we went into had this cardigan. We don't usually look at the clothes, the clothing on that side. We usually just bypass it. Whereas this time we thought, okay, we'll have a look at the clothing this time. And there was this hand knit cardigan.
Ingenting spilles av akkurat nå.
Excuse me. Not right now. Google that just scared me. And there was this hand knit cardigan. It's definitely hand knit. You can kind of also tell from the button placement, I guess. And it fits me. I need to properly block it just to see if it'll fit a little bit better, because it was hanging on a hanger. Obviously not the best when it comes to hand knit things. But yeah, we picked this up. It was maybe the equivalent of £20-ish, like 20 Great British pounds, because I don't know if I said at the start, obviously I'm in Norway, but I'm from England. So let's just get that out of the way. So yes, I aspire to knit many of these, but as of right now, I am not at that level. I'm not at that level to do such colour work, pattern, not right now. We'll get there, but not right now. So yeah, and we were going to leave it behind, but I didn't want to. So I'm now a proud owner of someone else's really lovely work. And I just think that's really nice. So yes, I have a cardigan. So first finished object is this. There you go. It is my third version of my, hang on, I need to review my notes. My Little Secret Crop by Jessie May Designs. That's the pattern. It's a paid pattern, but it's a fantastic pattern, and I will talk about this pattern until the cows come home. No pun intended. This I started way back in January, and I finished, I think the last week of March, because I finished it just before I finished the next finished object, which I don't have with me because it was a gift. It took quite a while. I wasn't knitting on it just this entirely, so I think that's why it took me a little bit longer. But it is a little bit modified. I did actually. I feel, I won't be surprised if I'm still missing something, but I literally have everything around me in regards to everything new, all my projects, all the yarn with labels so I can show them properly. Everything I've made before which might be relevant. Stop, I know. I'm almost too organised. But I've made 2 of these before and I haven't really shown them together. And I didn't really get to show them on my everything I made in 2022 either. But these are my 2 previous versions. So this is my first version. Please ignore the lines from where it's been dried. But this is my first version. All of these are made out of the same yarn as well. When I first visited Norway back in 2021, oh my goodness, back in 2021 was the first time I visited here. I don't know what the right word is. I'm going with the first. I made my first version of this top. It's a 3x1 rib, and honestly it was really fun, really fun to knit. This I think might still be my favourite version still. So that was my first one, and then my second one I did in this colour. All of them are the same size. I think these are the exact same, I think. Is this one shorter? Huh. You learn something new every day. Cool. So this one is slightly shorter. I don't know if I did that on purpose. Oh no, I think I did, because I noticed that the bottom was just folding quite a lot and didn't look very flattering on me. It also is because, could possibly be because I'm using superwash yarn for something that is stretching, and that isn't obviously going to hold its memory. Something I've learned, but I wanted to use this yarn for these because they are comfortable, they're easier to wash, and they're just very nice. So this was the second one I made. Happy days. And then when it came to the third one, I wanted it to fit a little bit better. So again, a bit more cropped, and also I changed the ribbing up a little bit. So it's shorter in length. The bottom ribbing is a lot bigger than what the pattern suggests, or the pattern says. And I did have enough yarn for the straps and the top. I'm so happy with it. It's the one that fits the best. So if I make another one, which I'm going to do, so just a spoiler for when I get back, I'm probably going to do some more of these, but not in wool, because I do get very warm in them. I knew that was going to happen. I didn't do it. These are all things I knew, and I knew I was going to make quite a few, so it's fine. This is going to be a really rambly episode, and I'm so sorry. And we have so much to get through as well. So I really did mean it when I hope that you got like a cozy drink or something, maybe some snacks, I don't know. But I did finish it. I did have enough grey for both the light and the dark. I was a bit worried that I was going to be playing a bit of yarn chicken, but it turned out okay. This is my first finished object. I'll put the yarns on the screen. I actually used I'm now realising, a really cheap yarn here in Norway. It is the merino. It is a superwash. There's no way I remember the colour codes, so I'm not gonna put these, but there is previous podcast episodes obviously where I talk about these when I was here almost a year ago. Well, no, almost a year ago I did these two. If you would like to know the colour codes of the yarns. All of these yarns I got in a sale, so I don't know if, I assume you can still get them. Either way, the light grey, the colour code is 203. Not right. I realised in my last episode that I only just now as well, that on the screen I put 2023. I think I was having a bit of a moment and writing down the year rather than the code. So it's colour code 203, and the dark grey is colour code 202. And it's just the dark grey. They do have their names, and I'll put them on the screen as well. But yes, so first finished object was my grey version, entirely grey version, which is exactly what I wanted. Slightly more modified, my little secret crop. I hope I'm saying that the right way around. It could be my secret little crop. No, I think it's my little secret crop. That is that. I'm just going to keep those there. It's chaos around me, so it may as well look just as, maybe not just as chaotic, but it may as well give that energy on the screen, right? Okay, the second finished object I don't have with me, and I literally have one picture. I didn't even think to take a picture of the actual object. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but I have a picture of me in it. But it was a gift knit, and I did talk about this in the last podcast, and the yarn I talked about in a short, like a mini short haul. It was using Drops Wish in the colour code 10. I think it was Bordeaux. I think that's how you say that. I think. It was this really nice like wine burgundy red, and it was a gift knit for my granddad. My granddad made a comment, or like not really a joke, but kind of like a comment saying that he would really like a Paddington Bear hat. Again, I'm not going to put that on the screen, but if you want to, if you don't know who Paddington Bear is, then I definitely recommend going and giving it a look. But it's basically a red bucket hat. I ordered this yarn and I got 3 skeins of Drops Wish in that colourway. I followed this is exactly what was recommended in the pattern, and the pattern, ironically, I got this before I even knew about the cow that was going on, which I'll talk about in a minute. This is chaos. I got one of Well Loved Knits on here on YouTube, one of her patterns. It was the bucket hat, like the knit bucket hat pattern. I don't remember how much it was also paid, but actually it was really fun. Really easy pattern as well. It's such a good pattern, and because it uses such big needles, it knits up so quickly. I think it took me 2 days. I used every single last little bit of this Drops Wish, and I was so scared that I wasn't going to have enough for it. I did, literally just. And also I made the hat slightly bigger. Now, I would say that it was successful to an extent. It fit me, and I intentionally made the hat slightly bigger. And I spent a long time trying to work out how to do that, because my granddad has a bigger head than me. Needless to say, I did something wrong. Not wrong, but something that I knew. I know how to do that. I know that I should do that. But it came to the cast off, and the cast off was too tight. That is entirely my fault. And it didn't fit him properly. He was happy with it. But yeah, nonetheless. I put all this effort into making the hat bigger, and then continued to cast off in the middle of the pattern, basically where the rib bit is here before you do the brim. Continued to cast off in the same size needles, even though I cast off loosely, knowing that for me, and I guess for most people, you are supposed to size up for the needles for the cast off. So I did, and I even pulled out because it's literally the same thing that I did for this. It was a silly thing to do. Silly. Basically, this is my cast. This is one of my cows that I've done before. It's a Norwegian pattern. Because I can understand Norwegian. I've been learning Norwegian for almost 2 years. I'm very behind. I can't have a conversation in Norwegian, but I can understand most. But I can read Norwegian patterns now, apparently. I'll go through that in a minute. But this is my cast on edge. Super stretchy, right? This is my cast off edge. Because I forgot to cast off in a bigger needle. And I did the same thing again in the bucket hat. And I'm still so annoyed at myself, but it is what it is. Like I said, I kind of adapted it to make it bigger, which meant that somewhere at the start, I changed my mind with how I thought I wanted to do it. So I ended up ripping out, and that was horrible. I don't know if anyone else has had any luck with it, but I know in the future, if I use Drops Wish again, the yarn that I chose, I need to make sure I'm paying attention, because that yarn was horrible to rip out. It just stuck together. It was not good. So when I had messed up the cast off, I had to just commit to it. And then obviously, because I literally didn't think I had enough yarn, I didn't trust myself to just cut it and redo it. And it's a good job I didn't, because I wouldn't have had enough yarn for it. If I had cast off in bigger needles, like I knew I should have, but just didn't at the time. I was making this it was at night. So I think I just clearly didn't think. It would have been perfect for him. It would have fit him perfectly. But it did fit on his head, and Paddington Bear's hat is quite slouchy. So he's happy with that. He's fine. But I think I might remake him another one that I actually do correctly this time. And I'll do the same as what I did. So I'll cast on 2 extra stitches on the first main part, and I will also make the brim slightly longer like I did on this one. I think by a couple rows. It really wasn't much because I didn't think I had enough yarn. So I think I might redo it, do a bigger cast off, because I did really like that hat, and I think it also kind of looked kind of nice. And I'll come, I have actually got more yarn to make myself one. But in the other version that Bethany from Well Love Knits actually specifies to use in the pattern. So I might remake him another one that will fit him better, and I'll just take that one back. Because it does fit me very snugly. But I was so gutted it didn't fit him, and I just knew it wasn't going to. And I said to him when I gave it to him, it was nice, it went well, it was a really successful pattern. I am going to be making another one. I really do recommend that pattern, because I know that the bucket hat search, for me personally, I found it a little bit is it possible for it to seem a bit over and underwhelming at the same time? There was a lot of patterns, but not what I was looking for. So that's kind of what I mean by that, because obviously I watch Well Love Knits and I very much look up to her. There's a lot of things that I think are quite parallel to how we are, because obviously my other half is in a different country, and there's just a lot of things that I relate to with her. I just sound like such a fangirl, don't I? But I knew that she had that pattern because I had watched the video, and then I remembered that, and I was okay, cool, I'll buy that pattern. I'm glad I did it. He loved it, even though it didn't fit him properly. But I think I will just remake it and just swap it out basically at another date. It's fine. But yes, so I completed a bucket hat, which was really fun. It was really cool. I made a bucket hat. It's wicked. It's really cool. And I will make sure I do it right next time. And I think I'll do that before Christmas. So I'll give it to him for Christmas, not for Christmas, but at Christmas. Hopefully before I come over again, because I would love to spend Christmas here this year, because I didn't last year. We're trying to alternate it so that we can still spend some of Christmas together. But either way, I think I'm gonna redo it. I think I'm gonna make him another one, basically. But that was my second finished object. Right, I need some coffee. 1, because it's going cold, but also 2, because we're about to get on to a really huge finished project. Keeping with the theme of Well Love Knits. And the timing could not have been more perfect, because I might have mentioned before, I don't know if I have on the podcast, but I certainly have when I'm talking to people. I have really wanted to try Woolly Knit, which is a yarn brand in the UK that sells British wool, and it's actually really affordable, and it's sold on cones. And it looks like this. So they sell yarn cones, they also sell hanks and skeins and all these other wonderful things, but the yarn cones are the yarn cones are just so affordable and really worth getting, and I'm definitely going to be getting more now I've worked with it as well. So I wanted to try Woolly Knit for quite a while, and I just hadn't really, even though it's a very affordable yarn, I just didn't really have I'm not really sure what word I'm looking for, not motivation and not really the funds. It just wasn't quite the right time to get a jumper quantity of yarn, because I hadn't quite got to that point. And now around March, I was seriously like, okay, well, I really want to try this at the start of March, and I want to make my first jumper, because if you remember last year, I made my first kind of jumper, and it was this. It was my first ever jumper style sweater garment that wasn't a top, and it was my slipover. This is, I don't know how to hold this. This is my novice slipover by Petite Knit, and it is made using Sanders Garn Double Sunday in a colour that was discontinued, but was the exact colour I wanted. And also, I think it's Permin mohair mix, but the unicolor, I think. And I have worn this so much, and it had its first block as well when I got here, and it's really straightened out so much of the stitches. We are all over the place. I'm so sorry. It's been almost 2 months. I have a lot to talk about, and the only people I've been able to talk about knitting with my partner and my friends and my partner's family, and I think some of them are maybe getting sick of me talking about knitting. So I'm just going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you guys about all of this, because it's been a while and I have a lot to talk about. I've realised, although I knit the size that I should have, and although my gauge was, it was like slightly off. So this is slightly bigger, and I knew that was fine. I am noticing that this just doesn't fit me right, and it's quite disheartening because it is my first. It's so exciting because there was so much to do with this, where I wanted to knit this in Norway. I wanted it to be with Norwegian yarn. It ended up being Norwegian and Danish, and that's fine. I was really excited about using Permin, and honestly, I will use them again. It's just, it doesn't fit me right. And I think the biggest reason for that is that, one, the size is too big, just literally one too big, and it's because I used a bigger gauge, which is fine, but also I think it's too long for my body shape. I am a slightly curvier lady, which means that this length, because I'm quite slim at the top with the how do I this is really weird. How do people talk about their bodies on here? Until recently, I have quite big shoulders at the moment, but I'm quite I have quite a smaller like band, but quite big hips. So although this looks quite nice up the top, on the hips it just doesn't sit right, because it just kind of sits and folds, and it doesn't look straight, it doesn't look nice, it doesn't fit my body how it should, or how it would look flattering anyway. I think the way that I can combat this, because I want to make this again, is to make it maybe the size down, so the shoulders aren't so chonk on me. And then I think as well also is to make it slightly cropped. I think that's the way that I am going to need to go. And I've realised now, by watching a lot of podcasters for a while now, and one that I realise, not that I'm saying that they are curvy, but I'm noticing a lot of similarities between some other podcasters and myself with body shape and sizes, and what size they knit and what size actually bust they have. And I'm actually noticing I'm very similar to them, and I have been knitting one size up. I say been knitting, I've knit 2 things now, but I've always had the mentality of wearing bigger clothes, because I've always struggled with my sizing, because my sizing is just all over the place. I'm really small here, but really big here, and normal clothes just don't fit me, which is one of the reasons I got into knitting, and one of the reasons I'm getting into sewing. I've always wanted to make my own clothes, because they will fit me better, because they are actually tailored to my size and my body shape. One of the people that I absolutely adore, I feel like I have a very similar body shape to her, and she wears a lot of cropped things, and I used to wear a lot of crop things, and I am remembering why I wore a lot of crop things. So I think I'm going to be adjusting things a little bit and wearing more crop things because I have bigger hips, longer garments, unless they are really long so they can sit on my hips and they can actually fold where they should, it's just not going to look flattering on me. So anyway, all that to say is that I do really love this, but it doesn't look right, and it makes me look bigger because it sits on my hips, and it should be sitting on my waist for it to look even remotely flattering. So I don't remember why I started that conversation. Either way, I made my novice slipover last year. I am all over the place, and I'm really struggling to work out and remember where I was. Fast forward to now. We are still in the finished object section, although we are very, very all over the place. Fast forward to March. Well Love Knits announced that she was doing a collab KAL, which is, if you don't know what KAL is, it's a KAL, it's a knit along, with woolly knit. And I internally screamed, I think, because the timing was so perfect. And it meant that as well, the timing would correlate to me being here. I was like, perfect, okay. So, and she had a discount code for woolly knit, which the timings were perfect. So I had been waiting to swatch for it. I had decided that I was going to order some woolly knit, the merino, which is what this is. I ordered 2 cones so I could hold it double with ease. And because there was a discount code, I think it was 20% off, I wanted to use that to the advantage. So I knew that I wanted to use woolly knit merino because I wanted to start off with their more softer wool, and I wanted to use drops mohair this time. At the time, I don't know if it is the darkest they have, apart from black, obviously. I got their navy colorway in the mohair. I got 1 extra because I get scared now. I always want to overcompensate just a little bit. This is what I have left. I weighed these cones and I have just over 300 grams left on each, obviously including the cone as well. So I have enough to possibly make another slipover. I have done a gauge swatch and it does fit the gauge for me. So I might make a slipover. I did say I wanted to do a navy one, and I will do it without mohair, I think, just so it's a little bit different. Anyway, for goodness sake, I'm really all over the place. I decided that I would contribute in my first ever knit along with my first ever. I was going to wear it today, but it's just a little bit too warm to wear this today, which is so sad, which is crazy as well because I'm in Norway. But I decided to contribute with my first ever knit along with a YouTuber that I adore, with a yarn company that I've really wanted to try and I now utterly adore as well, to make my first ever official jumper or sweater with sleeves in a colour that I love, in a jumper that I will forever wear. Now, the KAL rules were that you had to use wool. It didn't have to be woolly knit, but I think you got like bonus points or something like that if you did. I wanted to use them anyway. And it has to be something that you will wear a lot, that it will be well loved. That was the rules, and this is very much it for me. This is my first ever completed sweater. And I'm so happy with it. It fits perfectly. You know what? Let me put it on. I'm gonna put it on for you. I put a little colourful bit of yarn so I could tell which is the back for now. Okay, right. I must mention as well, I am planning on blocking this today after I've recorded this podcast. I was going to block it yesterday, but then I thought, well, it would be easier to show if it wasn't wet, you know? So this is my first ever completed sweater that I have hand knit. The pattern is there's a bit of a theme in this episode, which you will notice. So if anyone wants any advice on which of the 3 patterns to go for, I'm here, okay? As a beginner, I can give you advice. This is the novice sweater by Petite Knit. It is the normal version because she has a mohair version and a chunky version. This is the normal version. It has, hello, it has a really nice, it's just a top-down construction, and it ends up giving you these really cool, I think they're really cool, like eyelet design with every increase row, and I love it so much. Oh my goodness. So like I said, it's using 2 strands held together of woolly knit, the woolly knit merino cones, the 500 grams. And this colorway is azul navy. It's the navy colorway, and also the navy colorway in the Drops Mohair. It is slightly different. It's not very well matched, but I love it's ever so slightly mild. I love this. I love this so much. So yes, I am so flippin' happy with... I wore it for the first time out yesterday just to go over the road. You know, just so I've worn it out, and I'm so happy with it. I really am. I made the 5th size, which is the 1XL, which is the same size as I made in my slipover, but I actually hit gauge. So this is perfect for me. I think obviously I haven't blocked it yet, so this might change. We'll see. It looks like there's fluff on it, but it's just because I'm wearing a white t-shirt underneath. I keep seeing it, I'm like, I need to get rid of it. It's floof. There's the right amount of ease at the moment before it's blocked. We'll see how it goes. Everything is the same as it's specified in the pattern, apart from the neckline, which you start here. Oh my goodness, this was amazing. You start here, not here. So you don't have to pick up for the neck. You don't have to pick up for like doing any ribbon on the sleeves. It was fantastic. This is 1 centimeter more than the pattern specifies, as is the bottom here is 1 centimeter more than the pattern specifies. That's just because I had knit 1 centimeter more and I wanted to match at the bottom, but I didn't do that on the sleeves. The sleeves are the right amount in length to what the pattern specifies, and I'm really happy with the length. I think the length's perfect for me, and I think once it's been blocked it might actually stretch a little bit more, and this is like my perfect length of a jumper in the sleeve length. So yeah, this was my entry / project for the well-loved knits woolly knit along. I'm so happy with it. I absolutely love it. I really do. I love the colour, I love the way it looks, the fit of it, even right now, is really, really good. I'm so happy. And it means that I've completed my first ever jumper, my first ever sweater. And I just think that's crazy. And now the floodgates are opened and the possibilities are endless. One thing I will say, because I think it's important, and like I said, one of my whips is the other version. So if you need advice on which one to do if you're a beginner, I kind of wish that I had done this first, on the basis that I found, right, I don't know if this is because I'm finding things, I'm a little bit more knowledgeable now than what I was September time in knitting. So I don't know if it's that, and I've just improved a lot and I've got a lot more knowledge now and I'm a little bit more, I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit more. I also think it is to do with the fact that this pattern is, in my opinion, technique-wise, easier. There is less picking up to do. There is the same increases, like it's the same, you do increases in this one around the neckline, which looks fantastic. I love that. You do one increase the same. It tells you in the pattern exactly how many stitches, when to increase. And I have to say as well, I did this with the help of my other half for anything that I really weren't sure of, because I really didn't want to translate, like Google Translate anything. Because a lot of the time as well, it's not right. when you Google Translate, it's just not right sometimes, and it gives you something completely different. So the bits that I really wasn't sure of, I asked for help with translating. But not only did I finish, I'm proper sounding like really big-headed here, but I just need to have this moment of proudness because this is my first ever jumper. I didn't do this in English. This whole pattern was in Norwegian, which was a choice. I chose to do that. So not only did I follow the pattern, my first ever jumper pattern for the first time, I also did it in not my native language, not in English. I really can't explain how proud I am of this and the whole situation and just everything. But if you were to ask me, I haven't done the other one completely yet. I'm only on the start and I need some advice on it actually. If you were to ask me out of these two, which would be better for a beginner, there's two main factors here. This one I think is simpler to do. Because you don't have to pick up the only picking up you have to do is under the arm, and it's not many stitches at all. This one, you have to pick up stitches for the neckline, and for both arms, you have to get the right amount of stitches. You don't. Neither of these are the same amount of stitches in the pattern. Just saying. Because it took me so many attempts. Because as a beginner, at least for me, I even watched videos and I just didn't understand where I was picking stitches up and how I couldn't get the same amount of stitches. Obviously with this, my gauge was different as well, which didn't help. Although there is the same amount of stitches on this, so this shouldn't have been a problem. Then you have the folding over and stitching down. This is the easier one, in my opinion. The other factor of the two is that obviously this one takes less time because there's no sleeves. This one took me, it was either 2 weeks or just over 2 weeks, by a few days, I can't remember. About 2 weeks for this one. I've been knitting on a lot of different things, so I could have got this done in maybe 2-3 weeks maybe, but this has taken me a month. But it could have taken me less time. So as a beginner, they're your two factors. If you want it done sooner, this will take you less time because there's no sleeves. For ease, this one's easier, in my opinion. So just something to keep in mind. But I'll, maybe I can do a video on that because I'm also doing the other novice pattern. Honestly. Right, I'm gonna take this off because I'm getting quite warm. But yes, if I didn't look like a mess before, I definitely do now. But yes, this is Skew Whift. This is my first sweater ever, and it was so fun as well, knowing that it was being done in a knit along as well. It's just, there's something really fantastic about cows and taking part in a cowl and knit along, because although you'll be knitting with people at the same time, it's very much creates a sense of community, and it's been so cool to just follow along with the hashtag and seeing what people have been making, especially since obviously one of the rules was that it has to be something that you will really love and wear a lot. It's been really cool to see how that differs, you know, what people have been making and what that means to an individual that isn't yourself. The whole situation has been amazing. I'm so happy with it. I've made my first sweater and I will be using woolly knit a lot more. There's your warning, there's your heads up. So yeah, I finished my first sweater, first jumper, and I'm so excited for the colder weather already. We're only in spring, we're not even in May yet, and I'm already really excited for the autumn already, so I can wear my jumper non-stop. But yeah, I think that's everything. I could go on about that jumper for so long, but you know, we have so much to talk about. I really can't. I can't believe I've finished my first jumper. And as I say it all the time, if I can do it, and you are thinking of starting knitting and you want to make your own clothes and things like that, you can do that too. You really can do that too. And if you're worried about the funding of it, you can wait for another knit along. Sometimes they will have discount codes for yarns. I don't think it's always, but sometimes. Drops is always a really good option because it's so affordable and you get 100% animal fibres if that's what you're after. And if you can, I really do recommend woolly knit. I really do. Okay, on to my next, I think final finished object. I know, we're still on finished objects. This isn't good, is it? We're going to jump around a little bit. I'm just going to openly say we're going to jump around because it's easier to explain. We went away on, was it the first week I got here? I think, maybe. And we went to one of the local yarn stores there. And it's a store that I visit every time I go here. And they had some Drops Delight on sale. And so I got some. They were 20 krona each, which is super heckin' cheap. I'll put the conversion as of today on the screen, just in pounds, just so you can actually understand how cheap that is. I got 2 of each. So I got 2 of the grey mix and 2 of the pink purple mix. This is a superwash sock yarn, and I did what anyone would do when they have something so beautiful, and cast on and apparently finish some socks. Yeah, there's 2. There is 2 right here, a whole pair for me. My first socks, my first ever socks that I knit. These are my second pair of socks that I've ever knit, just to clarify. My first ever pair are right here. They're a bit stretched because he's used them, but these are my first ever pair of socks. Obviously I knit them at Christmas. He got them when I came here. He finally got to use them when I got here. These are the socks that I made for my partner. The first ever pair of socks I had ever made. I knit these using Mjuk Frost. It's the Ragagon, which is their really tough wearing wool and nylon mix. It's a DK, and I used a free pattern, DK Treasures Rib Socks by Christine Longlegs. Heavily also recommend that pattern for beginners. I have used that pattern again for this one, but I don't think I will for this yarn again because this yarn is too small. It's not a DK yarn. So that's fine. I've learned for next time, but these do fit me. I have made myself my own pair of socks, hand knit socks. They are shorter socks as well. These are super long and two pattern. Super long. I didn't want socks that long personally. It was a really good decision as well because this is literally almost, not even, almost a whole skein. So I know that I can get a whole skein, sorry, a whole pair of hand knit socks out of 150 gram skein. 50 grams? 50 grams. And I got two because I thought it would take a little bit more. So now I can make myself another pair. It's great. So yes, I finished my second pair of socks, my first short pair of socks, and my personal first pair of socks. So I now have my own hand knit socks because I don't regret it, not one bit. I'm really glad that I got to knit my partner some socks and my first pair of knitted socks as well. But it was a little bit sad that I'd made socks for him, but I didn't have any socks to enjoy myself that I had made myself for me. And I have more of this yarn at home, so there's gonna be more socks as well. But yeah, I finished another pair of socks. Literally yesterday I finished these. So these will also get blocked as well. They haven't been washed yet. They haven't been officially worn yet. I've tried them on but not worn. So I will also block these alongside the jumper. That's another reason why I was waiting, is to finish these. So yeah, and I think I did a pretty good job at matching the colour. It's slightly off because this is my first one, so this is how the yarn started, and then I kind of chopped a bit of yarn off to try and find as close as possible. And honestly, I'm really not far off. I maybe should have started a little bit further down the colour. I think that's close enough. And so I have my own pair of wool socks. Yeah. For reference as well, this Drops the Light is 75% wool and 25% polyamide. So they are stronger because they have the polyamide in there. And I know he's worn these, so he stretched them, but look how much smaller my feet are compared to my partner. They're so small. But anyway, so I've made my second pair of socks. Hang on. So I've made my first pair of socks for me, which are my second pair of socks ever. I told you I was kind of prepared today. Look, I'm bringing all me old knits out as well. So exciting. But yes, just obviously as part of the acquisitions, I did get 2 of each, and I do still have these, and I think my partner's kind of bagsied these, but I'll use a different pattern because there's no way they'll fit my partner. He actually needs to have a DK weight sock yarn for that. But yeah. Another thing as well, they are a heel turn and gusset. I think that's the right way to say it. So yeah, and I'm pretty damn happy with that. I'm pretty damn happy. And I realised as well, I did the toe wrong on my first socks. And that's fine, you learn from your mistakes, don't you? It's supposed to be at the front, like the toe is supposed to continue at the front, going round. I did a whoopsie on my partner's socks and I didn't understand why it was finished in the middle of the row, so I continued it and did them Kitchener stitch that way. So I did it wrong, but that's okay because they fit him perfectly fine and they just work. I think, oh my goodness, we're over an hour long. I hope I can edit a lot of this down because this is going to be crazy long for you to watch. I think that's it for finished objects. So now let's move on to whips. Some have a lot to I have a lot to talk about, some not so much. But I'm going to start off with this one because I did bring it with me. Like I said at the start, if you knew or you're new here and you didn't know, my brother is having a baby. They're having a little girl. So I'm going to be an aunt in a few weeks' time. This is the first baby of our generation, say. And yeah, they already have a name picked out, but I'm not talking about the name until it's official and she's born and they choose it, or they use it rather. But I don't remember where I was on this blanket. I think I was maybe 1 square short, possibly. But this is how my coziest baby blanket is going. So I finished the squares. All of these squares I finished. I'm so flipping happy with it. We don't talk about the other side. We are going to have a few live streams, I think, of weaving in. Just had a quick brief intermission because long-term COVID is a bit of a bish, and just had a massive coughing fit, so you know. Anyway, we were talking about this. There is a crochet hook hanging out, please ignore that. If you haven't been here before and this is the first time, and if you're even still here, I'm very surprised because this is all over the place, this episode. But there is one square that's different. And I plan on putting my niece's initial on that square. I probably will sew it on. I haven't found exactly what that is yet. Like where I'm going to get that from. But I wanted to wait until the end. Just in case, you know. They're very certain on the name. But just in case, I don't want to put it on if it's wrong. I did have enough yarn to finish all of these squares. You want to see how much I had left? Or I have left? This is all the pink I have left. It's quite a nice amount. This is my white. All of this, it's just squish. It's just squish. So I'm very happy about how much yarn this used up. Very happy. I am thinking, because one of my other friends is also having a baby. They found out they're also having a girl. They don't watch. I know that much. So I'm considering making some more of those little mittens and using up the rest of this white and pink on them. And I'll make them also something else. But I think they're due in July, so I have a little bit of breathing room, and that's not going to take up much space in my suitcase, is it? But look at how much squish! Like it's literally just a slither. Oh, and if I tell you that I was so scared I didn't have enough white, would you believe me? I'd done all of these squares, and I'd like got to like the last square, and I didn't have enough. I was so scared. Or it would have been this square, I guess. But it did end up being, I think, 6x7. 1, 2, 3. A 6x7 square blanket, and it's a really nice size, I think. And what I've done is this is the same yarn that I've used for this little square here. It's, I don't know what it is, some form of acrylic, but it has this little like tinsel in it, like this little shininess. So my idea was to make that one square blend in, because it's kind of a bit of an eyesore, it doesn't really make sense. I've done a border around in the same colour and it looks really cool, I think. I was trying to find exactly what border I wanted to use for the longest time, and I really wanted to do like a scallop, like a shell border, but I couldn't wrap my head around it, if I'm honest. If we're being completely honest, which is what we're going to do here, I couldn't get my head around it. I'm gonna knock myself out with this in a minute. So I decided to just do a simple single crochet border. I'm not a crocheter, so this is very new to me. I think I've done an okay job. Even at the corner, I think I've done a pretty good job, I think, for someone who does not crochet. I'm quite chuffed. Oh, the sun's coming out. I think I'm on the 4th row now, like the 4th round, and I'm using the only crochet hook that I brought with me, which is a 3.5mm, which works for the blanket, but it's going incredibly slow. And I want to use up as much of this as I want to use as much as I possibly can. So I think I'm just going to keep going until I run out of yarn. It might end up being a really chunk of a border, but I actually think it looks really nice. So yeah, this is how my coziest baby blanket is going. The pattern is based off of the Coziest Memory by Kemper. It's a free pattern. I think is it called like a mitre square pattern blanket? I'm not sure. But the pattern recommends, I will quickly go through some specifics though. The pattern recommends a 2.75mm needle because it recommends sock yarn. This is sock yarn, it's 4-ply, but I refuse to use anything smaller than a 4. So I used a 4mm on all of this, and it is thinner, but you really can't tell. You really can't tell. So I used a 4mm on the squares because I just quite frankly didn't want to use anything smaller. I'm very glad I didn't too, because this blanket is actually pretty huge as it is for a baby blanket. I think it's a nice size. The yarns that I am using, this is just an acrylic that I have in my stash, but it's really pretty and I wanted to use it on this. This light pink coral was the Janelle Baby 4-ply. It's a 60% acrylic, 40% nylon. The shade is 225, and on the label, I don't know if I brought the labels with me, typical, it recommends a 2.75mm needle to a 3.25mm needle. There's about 206 meters and it was 50 grams in one ball. I had 2 of these. And then the white, my little squidge that's left, I'm really screwing this up. This is going to be so tangled when I come to it now. The white is Jarrell Baby 4-ply. I think these are both British brands. Again, 60% acrylic, 40% nylon. 4-ply super soft. The shade is 180. And it recommends a 3.25mm needles. That was terrible English. It recommends 3.25mm needles. And this was a 100-gram ball and it had about 410 meters approximately. So my thought is that I had 2 of these, approximately 206, 1 of these, 410. This was 100 grams. I had 2 of these, 50 grams. And it's worked out perfectly. I couldn't ask for better. Once I have finished the border and I have washed and blocked it, I will take the official final measurements of it and then I will share, because I don't know if it'll be done next time, but I think it should be at least in the next time, you know? I will share the official measurements then of how big it ended up being. But square wise, it ended up being a 6x7. And I'm really chuffed. I'm really happy with how it's come along, how it's coming along. And the border, I think, just adds, I'm so happy. So this is still a whip, and I did bring it with me, and I was working on this on the train up after I got off the plane. Because my needles go through security. I was so happy. So I was knitting on this on the way up on the train. The guy next to me, bless him, he was so nice. But yeah, so yeah, still a whip, but almost finished, and I'm so excited for them to be able to use this. So that was my first whip. My second whip, just a heads up, we have 4 whips in total. And I want to cast on more. It's a problem. It's an actual problem. I'm going to run through this one super quick because this is all I have. This should be a quick one. I've been looking at a lot of patterns, like t-shirt, like summer patterns, and there's so many that I want to get, and I think I will get some. There's one t-shirt that I was looking at, which I don't know if I'll say the name of because I'm not sure if I'm going to do it, because it only goes up to, I think it's a 2XL and starts at a small, and it's a really nice simple t-shirt, but I think there's just better that people can do. One, Crayabea, so Rebecca from Crayabea is releasing a t-shirt pattern at early May, I think she said on her Instagram. 2, one of the jumpers that I want to do, I think it's the Crescent sweater. It's by the Knit Pearl Girl. She is releasing a summer t-shirt version of her, no, Crescendo, I think it's Crescendo sweater. I'm gonna check that. Crescendo sweater. She is making a summer top version, and that comes out soon as well. And then there's also another top that's just been released, like a vest top, and I can't remember what it's called. Druthen camisole? That's another one. But anyway, despite the point, I think there's a few t-shirts that I want to do, which I'll probably do once I'm back in England, and you'll see why, because I have so many projects to do whilst I'm here. But for a while I've wanted to have a slightly looser vest top, so not a tight fitting ribbed vest top like that, and obviously I wanted it to not be in wool. So I actually had like a summer top. I've not been here in the summer before, so I actually don't have anything summer or summery here. I've brought some clothes with me, but I used to live in hoodies and, you know, jumpers. This is all I've got. It's a swatch, basically, that I've been working out. I've had to use some maths to work out how to do the gauge, really. So the pattern that I'm basically starting soon is the Allure Cami by Kadri. It's a vest top, and it's knit in like a cashmere, a really thin like cashmere, like a finger and weight yarn, and it is so nice. And the best part about it is it's knit down, so if you run out of yarn, you can just adjust it with how much yarn you have or what size you want. And I just think that's such a great thing to have in a pattern, because that's one thing that I wish I could do with the crop top. I probably could finesse it somehow, maybe, to adjust the size, but there is a lot of new techniques in this pattern that I am going to need to research. And also, like I said, my gauge was off, so I used the recommended needles. That's what these are. But my stitch gauge is off by, I think, 2 stitches. I have 2 stitches too little, which means that if I was to just knit the size that I would need to fit my bust circumference in centimeters, and I was to still use the same stitch like amount, even though my gauge is bigger, I will end up with a bigger top, which is why we gauge swatch. So there is a fantastic video by Wool Needles Hands. I think it was released last year, possibly. I will link it down below, I think, maybe, to it, because it basically, it's when she was doing I think she was doing a knit along for the Felix pullover. I might be wrong. But she did a video about how to adjust your size dependent on your gauge swatch. So if you are really happy with the fabric that your gauge swatch has made, with the needles you've used and the yarn you've used, and you don't want to change your needle size, maybe you don't want to gauge swatch again, or you like the yarn that you've used but it's not quite the right, it's not right and it's not going to be close enough, you can use her video as a guide with the maths included to work out what size you should be knitting based on how many stitches you have with it. For her it was within an inch, but I did also inch and centimetre because I work in centimetres, not inches, unless it's for a very specific thing, because I just think centimetres is a little bit more accurate than inches. But I worked out that the size that I would knit is going to give me 2 sizes bigger on my gauge. So I am going to be knitting the size down. There are so many sizes in this pattern because there's like 2 of each size. There's like 2 extra smalls, so there's like an in-between size of each size. It's really cool. This is also a paid pattern, but I'm really excited to try it. So I'll be knitting the size down from what I would be knitting, and I'll just let you know how it goes. The yarn that I'm using is one that I picked up the other day. Is this here? It was in one of the, it's probably the local yarn store to here. It's like 30 minutes away. So it's not super close, but I got some of these. I got 5. I don't know if I've got enough. But this is a 100% cotton. So I really just wanted it to be a summer yarn or summer content material. So cotton, linen, etc. So that's as far as my camisole or my cami, my Allure cami has gone. But I wanted to mention it because it's a swatch, it's a start, and it's not much, but yes. So that's my second whip. So I'll update on how that's going next time, but I don't know how much progress I will make on this. I hope I will finish this before I go. I am getting quite tired and I'm considering getting some food and then coming back. But I think I might maybe get the next whip done, have some food, then talk about the next whip because I need a bit of advice on it. So it's a bit more talking about it. And then get into acquisitions because there's also acquisitions. I'm so sorry, this is such a long episode. Right. So I've mentioned this a few times. This was a gift to me for Christmas from my other half's, one of my other half's family members. She knows I absolutely love this. She's seen me wear this whilst I've been here. This is a Sophie scarf by Petite Knit, is what the pattern is, and it's knit in I think it's all Sanders Khan from memory, but the colour is just it's wonderful. Anyway, this is a lot bigger than what is recommended in the pattern, but I have that pattern now, and I was given, I tell you what, the acquisition section is going to look so much smaller because I'm talking about small acquisitions alongside the projects, so it's making it a lot easier, a lot more stomachable. I was given one of the many things I was given by my partner's mum, ever so kindly. I've been entirely spoiled by his family here. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. I was given some of this. You may or may not recognise it. I have actually bought some of this before in a green. I don't know if you remember me talking about it. This would have been last year I talked about this. I have actually had this before. I haven't worked with it yet though. I don't know if it's Sarah or Sarah. I just loaded yarn just fell off my lap. Wonderful. Wonderful, darling. I don't know what to do with this. My idea was that I was going to make another my little crop, but it's wool. And I don't know whether to make something different. Like I could make a t-shirt, like a wool t-shirt instead. Because I just think it would look a little bit nicer just to kind of have a bit more coverage up here. I'm unsure, but I have actually bought these before. It's by Permin and it is so cool. Such nice yarn. They are 50% merino wool and 50% Shetlands wool. Very cool. But my other half's mum, so my partner's mum, so I was very kindly given 3. Oh, everything's falling over. 3 hanks of this in black. I don't remember she didn't have anything to use for them, and because I took one, she gave me the rest, I think. It's very kind. I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I might just give them back to her, but I don't think she wants them back. Bless. To cake this up, because I don't have a Swift, my partner was sat there like this and had the yarn wrapped around his arms whilst I caked it up. I did offer to do it the other way around so he could cake it, but he was fine with, you know, doing that instead. So I have some more of this in black by Permin. Again, 50% merino wool, 50% Shetlands wool. And then also I was given another one of these, a brand new one, and one that was opened, so slightly used, of the Viking garn in the kid silk. This is so nice. Oh, it's so nice. 77% kid mohair, 23% silk. Beautiful. I was going to kiss this, but I'm just going to get mohair all over my face and that's not going to be good. Either way, she was kind of explaining to me, basically she'd bought me a pattern. I had a gift as soon as I walked through the door, basically, which I'll go through in the acquisitions. It's a different scarf, but she kind of explained that that pattern is very similar to the Sophie scarf by Petite Knit on the edges, on how to do the edging. And so it basically enlightened me to get the Sophie scarf pattern, and I started a Sophie scarf. I'm not using the same mill needles as recommended in the pattern. I'm using a 4.5, and I'm using one strand of each held together. So one of the mohair and one of the wool mix by Permin, and it is knitting up so nicely. Like, this is going to be impossible to show, I imagine, because it is black, but it's a really easy pattern. And I kind of said, well, I have one now, I don't really need one. But it's good to have things in such a neutral colour, like black. So this is how far I am. I think I'm almost halfway. I don't know what size I want to make it. Maybe a little bit bigger than the biggest, because in the pattern it gives you 2 sizes, one for a small one and one for a bigger one. This is bigger than the bigger one, because you just keep going until you get a certain amount of stitches on the needle and then you start decreasing again. It's really easy. It's a really easy pattern. But it's a very nice looking pattern. Yeah, I have a Sophie scarf by Petite Knit on the needles right now, and I don't know when I will start decreasing, but I don't know. I am thinking of making another one of these in a really nice, like in a light colour, and I'm gonna make a small one because I kind of want it as like a hair tie, like a headscarf hair tie. I don't know, I've worn this a lot, so I know that I will wear this. But yeah, so I am currently working on a Sophie scarf as well. Crazy. But I'm really enjoying using this yarn, and it's working really well because this is kind of my project that I'm taking with me everywhere. Just take my row counter, take my yarn, take my project, and it just perfectly fits in this little bag. My mini rucksack. I don't know. it's great. Okay, my belly is now officially rumbling, so I'm gonna take a little break. I'm gonna grab some food, and then I will be back to continue with some more. God, there's so much to go through. Okay, after like half an hour for me, but like 30 seconds for you, I've had some foods, a huge coughing fit, and we're ready to hiccups. Brilliant. We're ready to continue, which I really needed to eat before this because I'm not stressed. Knitting shouldn't make you stressed necessarily. But I am looking for a little bit of advice, and I am considering doing what I'm thinking at the same time. So I have one more whip to show, and then we'll get into the acquisitions. And I know it sounds a bit strange that I took a break when I just had one more whip, but I think you'll understand why, because I need a bit of energy to explain what's going on. I've posted a picture on my Instagram story about 2 different dye lots. So we went into the same time I bought this Drops Delight. There was also some Drops Kid Silk on sale. And when I say like on sale, I mean like on sale. Like it was 30 krona. Norwegian krona, I must add, because everywhere's different. 30 krona per one of these. In this wonderful purple, like a lilac purple. Beautiful. And I bought 7 of these at the time because I thought, okay, well, my, this jumper that I've just made, the blue one, it suggested 6 in the pattern, like 6 skeins. I bought 7. I'm gonna get 6 and get an extra one as usual. And then I decided, I was umming and ahhing, and I didn't know if I wanted to make a jumper or a cardigan, or I felt like this wasn't quite the right colour for a jumper, for me at least. So I asked the friends, and friends also said, I think cardigan, or again, I was looking at the crescendo sweater. And that's kind of what I had in mind. I was like, well, okay, if that takes that much mohair, I kind of have a ballpark now of how much mohair, or Drops mohair, it will use for that type of gauge. I thought, okay, great. And then I decided that I wasn't going to make a jumper, and then I would need more because I wanted to make a cardigan. And then, so I looked at, because I had a thought that I would do this anyway, just because, why not, experiments and all that. I decided that I would make the novice cardigan, which means I've done all 3 now. I have started all 3 of the novice patterns by Petite Knit. So once I've done this cardigan, if you want advice on which one to do, I can maybe give you some. But they don't have a normal gauged, like a normal, they're like how they have 3 versions of their novice sweater. They only have 2, and it's either the chunky or the mohair. And I wasn't gonna do chunky, so I decided on getting the mohair cardigan. So this next whip is the start of my novice cardigan mohair edition by Petite Knit. Now, this meant that I didn't have enough mohair because you hold the mohair double. So you hold it with 2 strands to make it slightly thicker, and that's how you do it. I have two gauge swatches here. This is my original gauge swatch, and it looks a little bit darker on camera than what it actually looks like in real life, I guess. But it's beautiful. When I realised I didn't have enough yarn, we went back and there was none left. And although I knew that would be the case, there's no way there would be any left, I got quite sad because I had decided on doing this cardigan. So I found it online, fine. I ordered some. I don't know if I hold this up, will it be obvious enough to you? Oh yeah, you can see that. So I got six of these. Somewhere I have a piece of paper which tells me what the color code is. These are the color code 5. It's like, so 05. I don't know if the color is disappearing. Maybe. But it is Gomma Rosa. When I opened these, I thought, that looks cool, but that looks different. And I put them together. Look how different they are. I know that parties, like party as in PARTI, and like colour lots, like dye lots, are very important. I know this. But I did not think that they would be that drastically different. And they were all like it as well. They're all from different lots. So this lot is 155005. And then this one was 219005. So I got very disheartened because I can't find the same colour. So I have 7 of these, 6 of these. Do I? 5 of these? Maybe 5 of these. Wait, how many did I get? I got 5 of these. I didn't get 6. I have 5. So I was like, okay, well, I'll swatch and see how different they look. And it's fine, you know, it's a bit... I tried mixing the two together up here. And I mean, that looks okay. Compared to this though, you can definitely tell. I tried to, like every other round, or every other row, I changed the colour, and you can see it's like striping, and I didn't like that. And then I tried, okay, well what do the two on their own look like? And I just think it looks a little bit dirty. In comparison, it really does stand out. So I was like, okay, well, I want to make this. I have all this mohair for it. I want to make this, you know, this purple cardigan. So I have been thinking about this for so long, on going back and forth as to how to incorporate it. And the best way I could incorporate it in my head was to do the ribbing for the neck. So actually I'm wearing a card and I can show you. So the ribbing for the neck, the ribbing for the button band, the ribbing at the bottom, and maybe the cuffs. So all of the ribbing in the darker, in like the darker shade, and then do the bright in the rest of it. So it looks intentional. It doesn't look like they're the wrong color. It looks like I've purposely done a different color. I'm going to show you what it looks like, because I have started this and I don't want to go any further because I don't know what I'm going to do. I did the ribbon and it looks nice. It looks fine. And then I started the yoke for the body, and I don't like it. I'm really struggling with, like, it's so drastically different. And if it was a slightly different purple, I could maybe get behind it. The problem I have, if I move my hair out of the way, you know, it'll sit like this and that's fine, but I just think it looks dirty. Like it will just make my cardigan look dirty, because Like, it's so different. I think possibly if I was to do the whole cardigan, if all of the ribbon was the same, it would look intentional. But I don't know if I can get behind this. I don't think I like it. And I don't want to knit something, especially with like something that's back and forth as well. This, you know, until you get to like the arms, you're knitting back and forth. You're not knitting in the round, you know, like a jumper. So it's going to take a long time. It's on really small needles as well. So I'm disappointed, but I'm trying to think of how the heck to go about it. I would like a bit of advice. What do you think? In the comments below, could you just let me know? What do you think to the way this looks? Do you agree with me that it just looks like I've got dirty edging to my cardigan, and I think it just doesn't look good? But you might disagree. You might think it looks cool, and it's cool to have a bit of a different color, and that's kind of what I was thinking. But like, trying to make the best of a not so perfect situation, I don't like it. Deep down, I think I know I don't like it, and that is kind of hurting me a little bit, and I've not done any more on it because I'm like, I don't know what to do. So let me tell you my other option. The way that I'm kind of leaning, and I'm going to throw this out there because these are the two options I have. I continue with this and make it into the cardigan. So the long sleeve cardigan, do the ribbon separately, fine, so that it looks a little bit different. Or my other option is I rip this out, and I don't know how it will go because it's just mohair, and I start again. In this situation, I would just leave this on the cable and start a new one alongside at the same time and compare the two, because I'm not going to have enough mohair. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to do within the 7 skeins of the bright one that I have. So I could somewhat finesse the pattern so that it ends up being a short sleeved, however long that may be, with however much yarn I can get out of it, a short sleeved cropped cardigan with a button band. So basically I just use the yarn that I have in the same colour and just basically shorten the pattern entirely and make it so it's kind of like a throw on, like over the top, because I just don't think I like this. I think it looks, I don't think this is a different enough colour for it to look nice, in my opinion. And I just think it's gonna look, it just looks dirty. Like, it looks like my cardigan edge hasn't been washed, you know? Like that kind of, I'm really stuck. And I think I might still cast on a new one. So start again on a different cable, move the needles over, leave this just chilling, and hope that when I need this yarn, like the rest of this, I can rip it out and it'll be okay. I don't mind that the mohair will stick together because it's going to be held double-stranded anyway. I just hope that I can pull it apart. I should have maybe tried to pull apart my swatches. That's kind of my options. Do I just continue on a cardigan that I really am not sure of? Like, do you think personally that this looks nice? Like, this will look nice once, you know, you've also got like the front button band there, and I need some advice. Because as well, I don't want to waste, although this was in the sale, and also these ones were a lot more expensive than these ones, even though they were still on sale. So I'm just a bit stuck. I'm very stuck. If it was if it was a lot different, because it's not just that, but also like the strands, I don't know if you can see, but these strands are very white and these just look a bit yellow. I just think the yarn looks dirty. And I just, you can see why I needed food before I talked about this. I'm just very stuck. And I think I will do another one and compare. I think I should have enough to, I mean, just this first increase section has hardly made any sort of dent in this. So I think, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Because even like the sleeves aren't like, they're not set. They're going to look a bit like this. I don't know if it's going to look weird or... But I'm committed to this pattern. And it's either that I make a short sleeves and hope that it looks okay, cardigan, or I commit to this and continue and hope that the rest of the ribbing will pull this together. Especially since the ribbing is on the edge, I just think it makes it, I think it makes it worse in the sense that I think it already looks so... I don't know, you might disagree, you might think actually that looks really nice, like, and agree with me, you know, make the best out of a not so perfect situation, make it look intentional, which is what I've tried to do. But I just, how intentional can you be whilst making it look good? And the thing is as well, is that even if it looks okay, am I going to want to wear it? I feel like I'll be more likely to wear it if it's one colour. I don't know. I need some advice. I need some help me. Help. I need help. What do you think? Should I... I'm really stuck. I'm hoping that I can finish this cardigan before I go. It would be really nice if I can finish it before the 17th of May. But they're so drastically different and I don't think they're different enough, if that makes sense. I think that's the problem, that they're not different enough to have it as like a contrast, but they're not close enough, not even remotely close enough to use normally. Please give me some help. Help me out. Give me some advice. What would you do? I just need a bit of advice. That's all. I'm just going to quickly run through this because it is a swatch. And then we'll get on to acquisitions, I think. Okay, so I said about how much I had left of these and I did a swatch. It's a very small one, but I did a little swatch. It is a little bit see-through, not really loving that, but I did a little swatch of the two yarn cones. It fits gauge for a novice slip over. So I'm thinking about casting on a novice slip over, like another one, in a smaller size but cropped, as I mentioned earlier, using these. I have enough, I think, in the cones to get a slip over. I've not even used half a cone for a jumper. So I think a slip over I'll be okay, especially a cropped one. And obviously the yarn is a little bit gappy, but I think that's okay. I'm not sure, but there might be a slip over at some point in the near future. Just wanted to go through that because I don't think I have enough for a whole jumper. Well, I probably do, but I don't need a jumper in the same colour. I don't think. I don't know. I'm all over the place. Because I've kind of gone through some of the acquisitions along with the projects, the acquisitions part doesn't look so dramatic, which is really nice. Let me get all my yarn out. I have quite a lot of new yarn to show. Firstly, I'm going to go through these because once this the Sophie scarf is cast off, I want to cast this on. But I was given a gift as soon as I got here. I was gifted a pattern, a little mini scarf pattern. I think you pronounce it beestrick, mini scarf, but it's basically just a mini scarf, but it has a very specific pattern to it. Oops. But it looks like that. And I was gifted the pattern. And then if it couldn't get any kinder, my other half's mum in the bag was these. Now, I know that they're not super pricey, but to me, these yarns are more on the higher end. I'm not even going to get into the ones that are even higher than this, because to me this is kind of like my high end, which means I have never tried these and they both feel amazing. It is one skein of Isaiah yarn, and it is the merino, no, it's the wool linen mix, the Marilyn. And never thought I would have one of these anytime soon. A knitting for Olive silk mohair, and that's in the oat or havre, the oat colourway. 70% mohair, 30% silk. And these are, like I said, they're not particularly super expensive for everyone, but for my budget, I think they are at the higher end. So I could not believe it when I saw these. Yeah, I get to try a yarn from Isaiah and knitting for Olive for the little scarf, the mini scarf, and so I'll hopefully report back on that super soon as to how I'm finding that. I'm in awe. I can't believe it. So yeah, that will be one of my next cast-ons as well. Also, so I've mentioned the Drops Kid Silk, I've mentioned the Drops Delight, I've mentioned the Sarah by Permin. I've also mentioned the Kid Silk in Black. It's crazy when you start adding it up how much yarn is new to me right now. Coming off of yarn for a minute. I also got a new little, I think I'm going to start doing a thing where every yarn store I go to, if they have stitch markers, I'm going to pick one up. Because I just think that's really nice. But I got this little stitch marker from one of the yarn stores nearby, and I love it so much. He's so cute. Little sheep. So I got that, and that was amazing as well because I put it on my jumper. So like the first project I used it on was like my first jumper. I think it's going to be a very special stitch marker. So just for clarification, my birthday is in December, but there was a book that I really wanted, or I really liked the look of, in the other yarn store. So there's two up a little bit north from here, two yarn stores that I love to go into, and this book was at one of them. And I really wanted it because I don't know if I've actually really talked about it on here very much before, but I really like traditional style sweaters, like with colour work, and like mittens, and I think that they are the most beautiful things, like truly pieces of art, like entirely. And I saw this book all about mittens and I fell in love with it. I really did. And we left it, and then we went back, I think it was the week after. We had to go pick up some things from a shop nearby, like a home shop, because we're doing a few little decorational things in the house, like we're decorating the house a little bit, just like we did last time. We did the kitchen this time, and it's really nice. But my other half picked it up, and I was allowed to have it early because obviously I wouldn't be able to take it home with me otherwise for Christmas. I had a super early birthday present, and it's like, look at it's a chunk, it's a real chunk, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It's full of the history. There's so many mitten patterns in here, and like so many like charts, and oh, it's just, there's history, there's what yarn they would use, there's all of the patterns as well have years on them, so when they were, like what year they were from, and they're all from specific area. I just, when it came to like traditional mittens as well, because I found this book, I think I might have found it on Amazon, I'm not sure, and it was maybe in English, and it was a lot cheaper, but I really wanted this to be in Norwegian. If I'm gonna get a book that is about traditional knitting or something traditional to somewhere, or like Norway, which I am learning the language of, I would rather it be in Norwegian, you know? It just feels a little bit more special. So I'm gonna be making some pretty, really pretty kind of traditional mittens. I'm so excited. It's a beautiful book, and I feel extremely lucky to own it. So I have this, and I'm very lucky, and I'm very grateful and very thankful for that. Thank you so much. So I have that. Very happy. To jump back onto yarn, I also have these two, which is the same as the black. So if I can go on Kid Silk. This was on sale. They were 50% off. So I got two mohairs for the price of one. And this is not my colour, but I do know someone who it is for, or do know someone whose colour it is perfectly. I want to check that she's not allergic to mohair first. You know, put all that effort into making her a little something, and then her be allergic to mohair. It's just gonna be so sad. I'm thinking just like a Sophie scarf or something. Just mohair held double. I think that could be quite nice for her for Christmas, maybe, because she has pink hair at the moment, and I think that would look really cool. But anyway, yes, so I got those two, and then super recently, at the same time as I got the green, like the dark green cotton, this was also on sale, 50% off, but it's very local, so it's very special. I actually was considering getting this yarn for my slipover when I was looking for mohair, because I was looking for ages, wasn't I? I was considering this because I was like, oh, it'd be really nice to have local yarn, but it's just too expensive. And the permin has worked brilliantly, but is it Rauma? That's how we would say it in England, I think. But the Ramagan, and it's the plum mohair, and it is so soft, holy moly. It's 70% super kid mohair and 30% polymide, and I got two. They are from the same dye lot, and I thought that they looked different. And hold them up to the camera, yeah, this one looks a little bit paler than this one. This one looks a little bit more grey. Maybe it's like bleached from the sun or something, because they were outside. Yeah, you can really see they are quite different actually. But I was thinking, I have these from last time I was here, I think it was the last time I was here. They had a bunch of Sanaskan alpaca on sale, if you remember. I picked up quite a few. One of the colours was like a chestnut brown. One of them was like quite a nice nude tan. And then one that's kind of like I have no idea how to like colour this. It's like a grey, blue, purple, all mixed into one. Not different colours, but that's just kind of the colour you get from it. And I'm thinking, what if they went together? So I would have alpaca with mohair. because this has a like a bluish undertone to it. Not that you can really see. I just thought they could look nice. It's more of a blue grey than a white. And I thought that that could look really nice. That's my thought. That is my thought with that. So I got those. Did I get anything else? Oh God, we're still going. Oh, this is such a long episode. I'm so sorry. I think this is the last thing. And then I'll get into kind of very briefly catch up. And if you want to head off, that's totally fine. I mentioned about the bucket hat that I made in Drop's Wish. I really liked it. Obviously it was a bit of a flop and also a success. But I really liked the other version that Bethany from Well Loved Knits. It's a very heavily Well Loved Knits episode, isn't it? I really like the other alternate like option that she made, sample. So much so that I apparently got the same colour. I think it's because I have a bit of red in my hair and I think that it would look nice, but I didn't realise I'd got the exact same colour. But she also does a sample in the boucle on. I think that's how you pronounce it, boucle. So I thought I would try the other sample out this time. And I got what was recommended in the pattern, so 2 boucle and 1 of the alpaca mix. This alpaca, oh God, these are so soft. And I have to say, I was so surprised by how soft this was going to be, or this is. I didn't quite think it was going to be that soft. Incredible. Amazing. The alpaca mix is the light brown colour and it's colourway 0607, so the Drops alpaca mix. I got 2 of the alpaca boucle mix and these are in the colour brown mix, colourway 0602, and it's just, if you don't know what boucle yarn is, let me see if I can grab a bit. It's basically curly yarn. It's so cool. But I really liked that sample and I really wanted to make some. So I'm going to make myself, I'm having a bit of a brown moment. I love browns, I do. I'm going to make myself a bucket hat. And like I said previously when I was talking about my granddad's bucket hat, I might still do another red Drop's Wish bucket hat version, but bigger and not mess this one up, so that I can give that to him so he has one that actually goes around his head entirely, I think. But I'll also have one of these. But yeah, holy moly, I think that was everything. No, it wasn't. Just quickly, apologies. Also, the other day, I've been wanting some sock needles for a while. I don't know if I'll be able to bring these back with me, I realised, because I think metal is a bit of more of a trigger in an airport. But I did get some sock needles because I think that I would get on with these a lot more than DPNs. I don't like DPNs. I really don't. I had an accident with a DPN a few weeks ago. I impaled my hand. I can't believe it. Can't believe it. Didn't think they were that sharp. Freak accident. But anyway, but I got some of those in the hope that I wouldn't need to use DPNs again. Because I want to get into Magic Loop, and I think this is kind of the equivalent of that. That's it. That's everything. And these are in a 3.5mm because I'm doing a lot of DK weight socks. And then once I actually start doing more sock weight yarn, I'll get a smaller size. I don't want to buy those until I'm actually making socks a lot, which is why I got them this time, because I know that I'm probably going to be making a lot of socks this year. Christmas maybe. Now I think that's everything. Okay, so if you are completely knitting chat, Holly's out, you're done, you can't hear me, you can't listen to me anymore, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so sorry it's been so chaotic. If you would like to stay till the end, I'm just going to go through some personal things, what we've been up to, and then that will be the end of today's video. Gosh, this is going to be a long premiere, isn't it? I'm so sorry. I'll have to make sure I put in the announcement that it's a really long video. But if you are heading off, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and thank you for being so patient with the uploads because they have been very quiet recently. Thank you so much. And if you are still here, I'll quickly go through some life things. Like I said, my brother and his girlfriend are having a baby soon. Really exciting. It's gonna be in the next few weeks. So I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna go home. It's gonna be absolute chaos with a new baby. It's gonna be so weird. And then here, I got here at the start of April, which meant that we had Easter or påske, and that was really nice. We went to the cabin, went to the family cabin for 4 days, I think, and that was, oh, it was beautiful. It was so much snow. It was great. It was so great. We bought a Ticket to Ride. If you don't know what that is, it's a board game. So we played that, me and my other half in the cabin. It was so cozy, really cozy. Like I said, we've been redecorating the house a little bit again. This time it's been the kitchen. We painted it from, everything in there is basically like orange pine. So we painted the cabinets, we painted them dark blue, and it looks really nice in there. We're thinking about doing a few other things. It's more because this house is so old. We have kind of just been given the do what you want, and it's more of a case of like a practice house kind of thing. And we can make the house feel really cozy and more homey by just, you know, painting it or throwing something up on the wall or something like that. What else? I've been getting ready to stream again. I might have already done a stream before this goes live. I'm not sure. This week's a bit of a busy one, but I'm getting ready to go to stream again soon. It's been a long break. Very needed. Definitely needed the time. For specific reasons, but I'm really excited to come back. I'm gonna start posting a lot of my, like, all my projects as well. I'll probably do this in streams maybe. I need to upload all of my yarn that I have here onto my Ravelry stash as well, so that they're on there. And then I also need to really get my butt up to date with all of my Ravelry projects, or the lack thereof. So I really want to get up to date with all of those. And then also, like I said right at the start, I've been really active to an extent on Instagram, which is really weird. I really struggle with staying up to date and active on social media. It's just me, the way I am. But I'm really enjoying posting on Instagram. I think because I have so many projects that have progress and I'm knitting so much, I have so much to post. I'm getting really excited to post things. So I think Instagram might actually stay and be active, believe it or not. So hopefully that will stay in a very similar way going forward. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram, you're welcome to do so. Since I am actually utilising posting pictures and utilising the story function, and really starting to make sense to me why Instagram goes so well with podcasting, or at least podcasting crafts, you know. What else? It's kind of spring now. All of the snow disappeared, and then we had a load of snow again here in Norway. And I think back home in England it's pretty nice as well. There's quite a few things going on in life, like home life back in England, but hopefully that won't interfere with too much. Or one of my favourite streams, like live streams, have recently, I say recently, it's been like a month now, but has been live again, and it's like a wildlife stream. So I found them last year, and they have like cameras in this little bird box. They are basically live streaming 24/7 this bird box through their Twitch page, and it's a bird box from Norway, and I loved that. Last year they had a pair of blue tits in there, and we watched all these eggs hatch, apart from one, which was quite sad. But I think there's 8 that ended up hatching, maybe? Was it 7 or 8? I don't remember if there was 8 eggs or 9 eggs, but one of them didn't. But we watched these baby birds grow up and fly away, and then they kept the stream up to see if there would be a second round. There wasn't. And they're back up. So if you want to check that out, particularly since as well it's in Norway, I'm going to leave their Twitch link down below, because I love that stream so much. They're all so friendly in there. And this year in particular, Dan has done a fantastic job. I don't know them personally, but Dan has done a fantastic job with adding more cameras, adding automatic camera, like changing cameras when there's activity. There's like a TTS now, like just text to speech, so it tells you bird facts about blue tits. It looks like, as of right now, it's going to be another couple of blue tits this year, having their nest in there and having some baby birds, some eggs. So if you'd like to watch that, I'll leave the Twitch link down below in the description, and I heavily recommend just going and checking them out. If you're not really one to talk in chats, that's also okay. We lurk a lot in there, but we love it very much, so I really recommend that live stream. We have it on all the time. I love it. I love it so much. And there's sound this year as well. There's sound in the box, which is really nice. Oh yeah, I didn't even say the channel's called Dan Musk, and it's great. But overall, it's just been a really nice, chill time here. It's been there's been a few things like back home, but here it's been really nice, really chill. Lots to celebrate coming up, and it's just been really nice to be back here and back with my partner and his family. And like, as you can tell, we've been yarn shopping a few times, not for anything huge, but you know, little sale things here and there. And yeah, it's just been nice to have a chill here, the ability to unwind from day-to-day life, you know. So yeah, but it's been hectic, it's been busy. And I made my first jumper. Yeah. Also, I'm gonna mention them now because I haven't started them yet, but I also have some mending to do, which is quite exciting because mending is slightly new to me to actually do. So I have some socks to mend. So maybe I'll update the progress on that. I'm not sure. So there's a lot. There's a lot for me to finish, there's a lot for me to do, there's a lot for me to sort, there's a lot of things for me to work out. I still need to work out what I'm gonna do with this, so if you do have any suggestions, please do let me know. And yeah, we've been away for a while, so let me know what you thought of today's episode in the comments. I know that it's chaotic, and yeah. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the patience yet again. I will see you hopefully in the next few weeks for a check-in, and hopefully I can get 2 more check-ins in before I go back to England and things get busy and crazy and hectic again. But yeah, so hopefully I will see you in a few weeks' time. And if you have been watching the premiere, thank you so much. Thank you for still being here. Crazy. But thank you so much for the support. It really has meant the world. Just want to give a quick little shout out. Not that I need to say anything else. Thank you so much to those that have been supporting me on Ko-fi. Although I have not been streaming and I've not been online, the support has been so helpful. So helpful, more than you can ever know. And if you'd like to support me on Ko-fi, the link is in the description down below as well. But hopefully, if you haven't seen me already, I'll see you back on stream soon, and I'll see you in a few weeks' time for another progress check-in. I hope you're all doing well. I've missed you all very much, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!